Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first session of SeekingPi's investment videos that I'm creating. We're going to start out really basic here so that we can get everybody on the same page, and then hopefully in a few more videos we'll all kind of have a good grasp on what investing is really, I guess. Okay, so what we're going to talk about first is an asset, and really what we're going to talk about in the next three videos is kind of like the basic accounting structure of any company. Okay, so let's talk about an asset first. So what an asset is it is basically something that you essentially own, something that you own. I can't write very fast. Something that you own that creates value, right? So I'll kind of elaborate on that a little bit in a second, but creates value. But just bear that definition in mind right now. And in addition to this definition, an asset can also be broken down into two categories. So let's work on that as well. And basically, the two categories of an asset are one, tangible assets. I'm actually going to put that up a little bit. So we'll go up here. Tangible asset. And what a tangible asset is something with physical form. Something with physical form. And you're saying, well, what is that, Justin? And what that basically means is it's a real object. It's something you can touch, and you can look at, and you can feel, and all that, right? So that's what a tangible asset is. So then, naturally, the other category we'll have, and I'll put that in a green color maybe, is an intangible asset. So intangible asset. And so if a tangible asset is something with physical form, then an intangible asset is naturally something without form, right? So no physical, we'll just say form. Kind of running out of room there. Okay, so no physical form. So we have our two categories here, and I'll just put a line under them like this, kind of keep things organized. And so let's talk about what a tangible, what examples are tangible assets. And I think the best way to do this is maybe to have an example company, right? So why don't we say, we'll just say that, let's see, one of our members, we'll say Zara, who happens to be one of our SeekingPi members, has a sambusa company, right? And sambusas are kind of these triangular meat-filled pouches. They're very delicious. I'm hungry right now, so that's why I'm thinking about them. Sambusa Factory, right? So we'll say that. And they're triangles like this, and they got usually beef in them. Okay, so at this sambusa factory, Zara is going to have many different tangible assets, right? One of the biggest tangible assets she's going to have, I'll put this back in blue, is she's probably going to have, a shop or a building, right? This is where she makes her sambusas, place to make, we'll say that, right? There we go. All right, place to make. And she'll probably have some sort of equipment. Maybe she'll have like a stove to cook the meat with. So we could say stove. Oop. Sorry, stove. Maybe a refrigerator. So I'll go refrigerator. Refrigerator. Oop. Etc. Right? So she's gonna have a shop. She's gonna have equipment. She's probably going to have some form of land that the shop is on, right? So we'll say land for location, right? And in addition to that, she might, and these are kind of like Okay, so let's just take a step. These are all her assets in a company, in her company, right? Another big asset she's going to have, and this is the most basic of which, is cash. And this is the most liquid of assets. And you don't really need to know what that means quite yet, but I'll tell you in a future video. So she also has cash, right? So these are all things that belong to her that have value to her, right? You know, she can make her sambusas and sell them using this equipment, so it has value to her. And it has a physical form, right? She has a shop, we can touch, feel that. She has equipment, we can see that, etc., right? Okay, so now let's talk about intangible assets, and we'll use the same example that Zara, with Zara's little sambusa factory. So for her intangible assets, these are a little more vague, kind of, I guess we could say. An intangible asset is almost like an idea, right? So just to start out with, something that you all have as an intangible asset is knowledge, right? You know, you're all going to school right now, and you're all learning, and this learning, this grasping of information is inevitably going to create value for you, right? So knowledge is an intangible asset for you. In addition to that, something that would be an intangible asset for Zara would be relations with clients, right? So okay, we'll say relations with clients. And the way this creates value is basically you have clients that come in every day, and you say hi to them and you talk to them, and they enjoy coming and talking to you. So they're going to buy more things, right? And they trust you more now. So that creates value to her, but it doesn't have physical form at the same time. It's just an idea or a concept or something that kind of floats around in the universe as something with value, but it doesn't have any physical form. Another thing that might be valuable to her is she might have, maybe a recipe. Okay, a recipe. And again, this it might be on a piece of paper, but it really doesn't have physical form. It's just more like an idea on how to make her food, right? So that too has value. Okay? So do we kind of understand now, tangible assets? So we'll just do a little recap here. An asset is something that you own that creates value. A tangible asset is something with physical form that creates value. So, your shop for Zara's company, the equipment that Zara makes her sambusas with, the land for her location, where it is in St. Cloud or wherever she has her little factory. And of course, cash, that's the most liquid and that's the most obvious of value creating assets out there. Okay, and then for intangible assets, these certainly have no physical form, and they're more along the lines of an idea. So like we said, knowledge creates value for you. You're going to be able to make money with your knowledge someday. Relations with clients is definitely a plus. Clients are going to come back and purchase more things from you, so that has value. And then we also said her recipe, because she's making these sambusas, and it's good to have a recipe to make them with. So that creates value too. So in summation, we just discussed the asset, and we pretty much covered everything that it is in a nutshell. So right before I go here, I want to also introduce you to one other thing, and this is called the accounting equation. And this is like the most fundamental equation in accounting, and it's really easy, don't worry. And what it basically is, it is assets. So what we just talked about, assets minus liabilities. Liabilities equals owner's equity, right? Owner's equity. And if you talk to any business person and say, hey, what's the accounting equation, they're going to be able to rattle this off for you. And it's not very hard, it's just 3 or 4 words here. And in the next upcoming videos, we're going to talk about liability first, and then the last one we're going to talk about owner's equity. And by that video, you're going to be able to understand this this equation fully. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have a great day.